Medieval peasants worked fewer days per year than you do. I am completely serious. A medieval English peasant in the year 1300 worked approximately 150 days per year. You probably worked 230. They had more holidays than you, more rest days than you, and significantly more time to do absolutely nothing than you. So why does everyone think medieval life was nothing but misery and hard labor? Tonight we rewind to medieval Europe and find out what a day in the life actually looked like. It involved a lot more ale than you might expect. First, let us establish what we actually mean by medieval. We are talking roughly 500 AD to 1500 AD, 1,000 years of European history. And when most people picture this period, they picture one thing: misery, grey skies, mud everywhere, peasants hunched over fields from dawn until dusk, dying of plague every other Tuesday. And honestly, that image is not entirely wrong. Medieval life was genuinely hard in ways that would absolutely destroy a modern person. No antibiotics, no central heating, no indoor plumbing, and absolutely nobody had invented coffee yet, which alone seems like sufficient grounds for declaring the entire period a humanitarian crisis. But here is what that image gets completely wrong. Medieval peasants were not working all the time. In fact, by modern standards, they were barely working at all. Here is the thing about medieval work that nobody tells you. The medieval calendar was absolutely packed with holidays. Not one or two holidays, not a couple of weeks off in summer. We are talking approximately 115 holidays per year in medieval England. 115. Every single one of them was a religious festival, a feast day, a saint's day, or some combination of all three. And on feast days, nobody worked. It was not optional. The church actively prohibited labor on feast days. Your medieval employer, usually a lord or a monastery, could not legally make you work on a feast day, which means the medieval peasant had built into their calendar Sundays off every week, Christmas, which lasted 12 full days, not one, Easter, which came with its own extended holiday period, dozens of individual saints' days spread across the entire year. Add all of that up and you get approximately 150 actual working days per year. Meanwhile, the average modern worker gets 8 days of public holidays per year in the United States. 8. The medieval peasant had more holidays than a modern American. Let that sink in for a second. But okay, on the days they did work, what did that actually look like? Let us walk through a typical summer working day for a medieval English peasant. Around 5 a.m., sunrise, the peasant wakes up, not to an alarm clock, obviously, to a rooster or a child, or both simultaneously. They eat breakfast, which in medieval times was called nothing, because breakfast did not really exist as a concept yet. Most peasants started work on an empty stomach and ate their first meal around mid-morning. They head out to the fields. Medieval farming was genuinely backbreaking work, plowing, planting, harvesting, doing all of it with tools that would make a modern farmer weep with pity. But here is the crucial part. They worked from sunrise to around noon. Then they stopped. They ate. They rested during the hottest part of the day. Then they worked again from early afternoon to around sunset. After sunset, they went home. They ate their main meal. They talked. They drank ale, which was safer than water because the brewing process killed bacteria, even if nobody knew why yet. And they went to sleep. That was it. No emails after hours. No answering messages at midnight. No being available at all times. Work happened, then work stopped. And that was genuinely the end of it. If this is making you question every life choice you have ever made, you are not alone. And if you want more history that absolutely nobody taught you in school, subscribe to Rewinding Europe right now. This is the part that genuinely surprises people. They played sports. Medieval peasants played an early version of football, which looked absolutely nothing like modern football. So what did medieval peasants actually do with all this free time? They danced. Medieval feast days almost always involved communal dancing, often lasting hours. In the village square or outside the church, They gambled. Dice games were extraordinarily popular across all levels of medieval society, and the church spent considerable energy trying and failing to stop people from gambling on feast days. Before books were accessible to ordinary people, oral storytelling was the medieval equivalent of Netflix. Traveling performers called minstrels would arrive at villages and perform stories, songs, and comedy. Yes, comedy, for paying audiences. They gossiped. Medieval villages were small, tight-knit communities where everyone knew everything about everyone. The village gossip was essentially the medieval version of social media, only slower and with significantly more ale. Historians have actually found records of medieval church authorities complaining that peasants were spending feast days drinking, dancing, and engaging in unseemly behaviour, which tells you two things. First, medieval peasants knew how to have a good time. Second, medieval church authorities were almost certainly not invited. Now, before you start seriously considering moving to 14th century England, let us be completely honest about what medieval life also meant. Your life expectancy was approximately 35 to 40 years. 1 in 3 children did not survive past the age of 5. The Black Death killed between 30 and 60% of Europe's entire population in just 4 years. Your house was one room. Everyone in your family, parents, grandparents, children, slept in that one room, often with the livestock. For warmth, medical care consisted largely of prayer and herbs and occasionally bleeding, which made almost everything worse. And if your harvest failed, which happened regularly, you faced genuine starvation. So no, medieval life was not a holiday. The free time existed, but so did everything else. In summary, medieval peasants worked less than you, but they also shared their bedroom with a goat. So perhaps modern life has its advantages after all. We have a deeply ingrained image of the medieval peasant as a suffering, miserable creature, barely surviving, working every waking moment of every day. And that image tells us a lot more about our own assumptions than it does about medieval reality. Because here is the truth. Medieval people, even the poorest ones, had something built into the structure of their entire society that modern life largely removed. Mandatory rest. Not rest as something you earned after enough productivity. Rest as a non-negotiable structural feature of life itself. The church enforced it. The calendar guaranteed it. Society expected it. And somewhere between medieval feast days and modern hustle culture, that idea got lost. Which makes you wonder, who actually had it right? History is complicated. Subscribe to Rewinding Europe for a new rewind every Wednesday, and drop a comment below. Would you swap your modern life for a medieval one? I want to know your answer. See you next Wednesday.